Hey guys, I'm going to go over the questions for the homework tonight. It's this worksheet right here, solving multi-step equations. Now I just want to remind you that you should have your interactive notebook with you. Turn to page 7 and make sure it's opened to the checklist, which is right here. Okay? So try to have that open anytime you're working on these equations, at least at the beginning, and then you will get better at it as you go. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at number 4. That was the first problem that was assigned to you. So if you look at step 1, it says draw a line down the equal sign. It's the easiest first step. So we're going to go ahead and draw a line. Good, and then step 2 says distributive property. Now, if you take a look at this problem, we don't need to do step 2. We can skip it because there's nothing to distribute. So we're going to skip that step. Now, step 3 says to draw shapes around all the terms. So remember, we usually are going to put squares around the variable terms. So here we have an x, and invisibly there's a coefficient of 1 next to that x. Let me go ahead and recircle this. So there's a 1 here, and I'll go ahead and box that. And I can see there are no more variable terms. I can see that plus 3 is a coefficient, or a constant, so I'll circle that. A minus 3, which is also a constant, and then minus 6. So I have finished step 3, drawing shapes around all the terms. And remember, we're going to do that every time we write a new line. Step 4 says, combine like terms on each side of the equal sign, the left side and the right side. So if we look here on the left side, are there any like terms? Now let's not confuse number 4. That's not part of the problem, so maybe I should put a cloud around that. Or I'll just leave it uncircled so that doesn't get confused as part of the problem. So I do see these constants are like terms, so I'm going to combine these. So 3 minus 3, hey, that's 0. So really what happens here is that these two cancel each other out. 3 minus 3 is just 0, and x plus 0 is just x. Okay? Equals, remember this is an equation, so rewrite the equals, and then we have nothing to do but write negative 6. The answer is just negative 6. So you would write the solution is negative 6. Now, number 6, I would ask you to try pausing the video here if you haven't tried number 6 already, and see if you can similarly do something with number 6 as we did number 4. So I would pause, try it on your own, and then you can replay the video to see if you did it right. So we're back to step 1 again. Draw a line down the equal sign. So I'm going to draw a line down the equal sign. Number 2, distributive property. Well, there are no numbers that I need to be distributing. Remember, you're looking for parentheses being multiplied by a number or some other term, and that's not happening here. So I get to skip step 2. Step 3, you don't ever want to skip. Draw shapes around all terms. So this constant is going to get a circle, and I'm going to erase this circle here because that's not part of the problem. And then this here, negative 3r, is a box, and plus 2r is also a box. All right, so we've done number 3. Number 4 says to combine like terms on each side of the equal sign, the left side and the right side. So let's look on the left side. There are no like terms on the left side, so I'm just going to rewrite negative 1. And then, of course, I'll write equals. Now, these two are like terms. We're going to go ahead and combine them. Now, negative 3 plus 2 is a negative 1, negative 1r, or negative r. So if I recircle this as a constant and draw a box around this one, I can see that I need to go to step, let's see here, let's go to step 4. Move variable terms on one side. Well, my variable term is already on one side. There's no variable terms on this side that I need to move. So we're going to skip step 5. Now let's see step 6. Move constant term away from the variable term using inverse operations. Well, on this side where the variable term is, there is no constant. So I don't need to move any constants, which means I skip step 6. Now I'm going to go to step 7. It says isolate the variable using inverse operations. Okay, we're ready for step 7 because we have a negative 1 as the coefficient. We don't want that. So remember, invisibly, there's a negative 1 times r. So the inverse operation of multiplying is division. So we're going to divide. Now what do we divide by? We're going to divide by a negative 1. Here's why. Negative divided by negative is a positive. We want to end up with a positive r. And 1 divided by 1 is 1. So we want to end up with a positive 1r. So this cancels to become a 1. We're going to let the 1 stay invisible and write the r. So we have our r here, and the 1 is invisibly here. We're going to write equals, and then nothing to be done on this side, so we just rewrite negative 1. So we just did step number 6. Let's go to step number 7. Oh no, we did step number 7. So now it says in step number 8 to simplify. Well, there's nothing to simplify, so this is my final answer. Some of you are not comfortable with the variable being on the right side. This is fine, but you could rewrite it and just switch them up. You can put the r on the left side and the negative 1 on the right side, and your answer is negative 1. So the solution is negative 1. Okay, now I'm going to go on to number 7. Again, I'm going to advise you to try pausing the video here and see if you can figure out how to do this on your own, and then replay the video and see if you got it right. So step 1, draw the line. Step 2, distributive property. Yes, this problem actually does. So I'm going to distribute the negative 3 to the x and to the 2. Remember, this has an invisible coefficient of 1. So let's distribute. We get negative 3x, because negative 3 times 1 is negative 3, and don't forget your x. And then negative 3 times a positive 2 is a negative 6, so we're going to write minus 6. Now you don't want to leave this side blank, so I'm just going to rewrite equals 6. All right, now let's go to step 3, draw shapes around all terms. So 6 is a constant, so I'm going to circle that, and I'm not going to get confused by that. So here we go. Negative 3x is a variable term, so we're going to box that. And then negative 6 here is a constant, so we're going to circle that. So we've drawn our shapes. Let's go to number 4. Combine like terms on each side. Okay, so let's look at the left side. Here, there's only one term. There's nothing to combine. So we're done with the left side. Let's look on the right side. Here on the right side, these are unlike terms. I can't combine them. So really, I'm going to skip step 4. Now let's come to step 5. Move variable terms on one side by inverse operations. Okay, now that would mean that I would have to have variable terms on both sides, but I don't, so you leave that variable term alone. So we can skip step 5. Now step 6 says move constant term away from the variable term using inverse operations. So here's my variable term, negative 3x. There happens to be a constant right next to it. So I want to move that away using inverse operations. So you see that we're subtracting a 6 here. The inverse operation of that is to add a 6. Okay? So, and then this is a constant and this is a constant. We're going to combine these and combine these. So if you look here, we have a negative 6 plus a positive 6. These cancel each other out and become 0. So we don't need that anymore. It's gone. So we remember to rewrite negative 3x. And then over here, a positive 6 and another positive 6 is a positive 12. So we have moved this constant term away from the variable term, and now the variable term is by itself. That's a good sign. Now let's go to step 7. It says isolate the variable using inverse operations. So here, the variable's on the side and it's connected by multiplication. We're going to get rid of the negative 3 by dividing by a number that's going to give me a positive 1. Well, I want to divide by another negative, so it's positive, and to make it become 1, you divide by another 3. So basically, you're dividing by negative 3. So whatever you do to one side, make sure you do to the other side. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 is a positive 1, but I'll leave that positive 1 invisible. And then a positive 12 divided by negative 3 is a negative 4. So this is my solution, my answer. Or you can rewrite it as x equals negative 4, just flip them around. So the solution is negative 4.